All right, questions for Coach? Right here up front to start, please.
Thompson with Boston Herald. Just talk about what went into going 12-0-1 down the stretch.
You know what? I think if you'd asked that question through that time, there might have been some different answers. So, but if there's one consistent factor, as it is in our sport, is you've got to have some quality goaltending. And if you look at Cole Huggins' numbers over that time, they're special. You know, and there were times through that streak that we obviously were playing some very good hockey, but there were some times where we weren't. And I just think he has been the constant back there for us and has given us an opportunity every time we've played to succeed. And that's where I'd start. And then really over a time frame that you're going back to, I think it was January 31st till right now, we've had a lot of different people step up and kind of grab a piece of the rope. Early, it was our veterans. It was the Matt Leitners, the J.P. LaFontaines, Johnny McGinnis, guys that were carrying us a little bit on the power play for an extended period of time. And then towards the back end here, even our last game that we played, you know, you've got, Brett Knoll scoring his first goal of the year. Brett Stearns scoring his first goal of the year, Michael Hunterbreaker his second. You've seen what Bryce Gervais done over the last 10 games. We've had a lot of people step up and make contributions to allow the streak to continue.
Rich, right here.
Coach Rich Garvin from the Worcester Telegram. I was wondering what you knew about Lowell's goalie, Connor, I think it's Helbuzik.
Yeah. He's good. He stops about 94% of everything he sees, probably some that he doesn't. He's about as calm and collected as a guy at 6'4" that's running the numbers that his numbers, and again, it's a little bit difficult for me to understand the idea of him not being up for the most prestigious award that we have in our game. But I'm also going to tell you that he does have a lot of people around him that are good, but I think he just does what he's supposed to do. He puts pucks to areas that aren't real dangerous. So he's a good first puck goaltender. He doesn't help you create your second and third opportunities because he's putting pucks into areas that you can't get to right away. And the second thing is at 6'4", and he's a very stay-at-home goaltender. He makes you beat him. He's not going to move and create a hole for you. So you take that with the history that he has had in a short time that he's had at UMass-Lowell. I think he's confident. I think their team's playing confident. They buy into what they're doing, as well as anybody I've seen this year. And so you've got to give him a lot of credit into the numbers that he's put up.
Right here.
Mike, you talked about last year and last year's experience. Is there anything that you've done differently as a coach or things that you've done differently as a team this week or last night, today, that you maybe learned from last year?
Yeah, some things. I mean, look, experience, as we all know as adults, is the best teacher that you can have. And whether it's positive, negative, we've had an experience at being to an NCAA regional. It didn't go real well for us last time. I thought we had a pretty good start to the game. Hit a couple of posts, didn't score on a power play, and Miami was Miami. I think I've got a lot of respect for what they do there and how they play, and so it's not brand new for us anymore. The idea of getting on a plane and getting to a national tournament and getting to a regional, we've got a lot of guys in our locker room that have done that. Now, that doesn't guarantee us any different result than what happened last year. We're going to have to go out and play, but I can tell you just the idea of the guys that we've had around, having two guys up here that have gone through that, having multiple guys in our locker room that have gone through that. We're fortunate enough to win a championship this year in our playoffs, and I think the guys have done a good job at leaving that back where it's at. The trophy's back in Mankato. The WCHA's back there. We're representing. We're incredibly proud to be a representative of the WCHA. But this is something that we've discussed this since day one. having an opportunity to be in this position. So, maybe some things, but not a tremendous amount. Just really drawing on the experience that the guys have gone through and we've gone through as a staff that hopefully make us more prepared than we were a year ago.
Well, let's get there, and then Rich.
Joe Maloney, College Hockey News. Mike, the same question I asked Johnny. You've been around the game for a long time, coached at a number of programs. We see a lot of kids from Minnesota, Michigan, out east. Don't see many kids from Boston, Rhode Island, New Hampshire, out west. In your opinion, why is that?
Well, I think if you look at the landscape of college hockey, you talk about just sheer numbers. There's a lot of opportunities out here for kids to stick around home. I can tell you in the state of Minnesota, yep. In the state of Michigan, yep. But still not the same numbers of the colleges that are represented in the multiple leagues out on the East Coast. And so that'd be my first answer for that. The second answer I'm going to tell you is I think the game's ever-changing. When you can sit and you talk about the influx of California, when you start talking about players being from Florida, to me, I think those numbers are going to change because the young men are just looking for opportunities to play this great game. And so if it ends up being in Minnesota, I think these help too. Us being in a tournament, having multiple representatives from different areas than just on the East Coast, us coming out here as a university that's in the state of Minnesota and being out on the East Coast, I don't think it can do anything but help.
Just go to Rich real quick.
I'm curious. There was a TV show that ran about 20 years ago called Coach, and I'm wondering if you ever saw that.
Absolutely. Yeah, glad it's not fictional now. I wouldn't have a job. It's you know what? Again, it's one of those things where I'm that old, so yeah, I remember it vividly. You know what? No, he was about 6'5". I'm about 5'5". So, I haven't heard a lot of that though.
Yes, please.
And again, I don't mean to make this whole press conference about Johnny, but just I guess the pride that you have in watching him grow as a player over these last 2 years, and kind of the reward that he gets after his family spending all that time and money probably traveling out to Mankato, for him to be able to host that, to go back home for what could be his last game, but could just be a good moment for him.
Well, first of all, there's a couple of things there. I'm incredibly proud of the young man. I don't know if you guys caught it, but when he starts talking about mentoring freshmen and sophomores and that they're just starting to go through this long process. He's only been here for 4 years. I mean, he's still a young man, but mentally he's gotten himself to a point as a leader and as a person that no matter what comes at Johnny McGinnis is going to be successful. And again, that's a lot of credit to his family and the people that have surrounded him. But I can't help but believe, because he took some time and decided to spread his wings a little bit and go to Canada, where not a lot of people from Boston go, and then to decide, the opportunity that was afforded him at Minnesota State by Troy Judding and the staff to take that and say, you know what, yeah, I'm willing to do this. And to see him grow as an athlete, as a person, academically, all those things. And he's at a point now where I think no matter where he goes, he's going to be successful. So I'm happy for him, one, because he's our captain, and that's not an easy thing to be for an entire year. Two, the type of human being that he is, and to see him be able to come back and play in front of family, I think is really unique. And I think our whole team's excited about that opportunity for him.
Up front, please.
Hi, Mike. Last one. Just your impressions of the Pendoza-White Holmstrom line.
Again, I think you've got to give them a lot of credit for where they're at. And everybody grabs stat sheets, right? You look at it and you look for power play goals, assists. You look at the top five. I just think they've got some chemistry right now where as a hockey coach, we always talk, we don't want guys thinking, because if they're thinking, they're slowing down. Those guys don't look like they're thinking too much. They play real fast. They play off of each other. There's not one thing that you can say, okay, one guy's just a shooter. I think that they're interchangeable. They play in different spots in their rink. They're fine with just reading off each other and reacting. And I think when you have that type of chemistry at the line, they're extremely dangerous when you add the idea that they're as talented as they are. And for me, the other piece of it is they look like three very hungry hockey players. And that's where I think you're seeing them have the success that they're having. I've got a lot of respect for that line.
Any more questions for Coach? Okay, thank you very much, Coach.
Thank you.